Hey guys, today I'm going to be sharing with you my to-be read pile for October and November. So before I head into my upcoming October-November to-be read pile, let's talk about my previous TBR. That was very successful. I managed to get everything done just in time. Yeah, the big highlight for that was the next Outlander book, The Fiery Cross. I read The Fiery Cross, probably my number one pick. Out of everything I enjoyed, that's probably my number one pick from everything I read from the last TBR. So yeah, everything that I did read for my last TBR, I will eventually get around to some book reviews. Just give it a month or two, they'll get up. But yeah, if you're anxious to read my reviews or hear about my reviews, I do have all the reviews up on my Goodreads, so check that out if you wish. So yeah, my October-November TBR. I kind of wanted to have a theme for these two particular months, because I feel like I never do themes. I'll sit and watch other people's TBRs and they'll have like a theme for the month, and I've never done that. So I wanted to make a big effort to have a theme for these next 2 months, and I decided to go with, since we're getting into the fall season, it's also going to be Halloween. I was like, I'm going to go for some books that either have like a scary tone to them, whether that's like a mystery thriller, or yeah, just something that feels like fall. Something that feels like a fall themed book, if that makes sense. So yeah, let's get going into my TBR. I'm very excited, you guys. I am super excited. I feel like I have a lot of really great books here. Something I've been wanting to get to for a while now are the Magician's books by Lev Grossman. So yeah, I have books 1, 2, and 3 here, if I can get them up on the screen. Yeah, books 1, 2, and 3. The first book being The Magicians, and then book 2 being The Magician King, right? Yeah, The Magician King, and then book 3 being The Magician's Land. There is a television series on the Sci-Fi Network based off of these books, and I initially was going to postpone reading these books until the TV series ended, but yeah, the TV series is kind of beyond these books now. And I think the TV series has done a lot of different things that these books never did. So I was like, you know what, I'm not waiting any longer. I'm going to go ahead and start these books, because I think they're just going to be vastly different from the TV series anyway. So yeah, the Magician's Trilogy by Lev Grossman. What are these about? Take place in a contemporary setting following a group of young people who are magicians and them going to a special school of magic. It sounds like Harry Potter, pretty much, but yeah, taking place in America instead of, Great Britain. And yeah, that's the basic premise. Young people, magic, a school of magic, and yeah, they have to fight a great evil. I freaking love the TV series, and I'm hoping to really enjoy these books. I know a lot of people have problems with these books, that there's the people who love the books, and then there's the people who really hate them. But I feel fairly confident that I'm going to enjoy them. Next up, The Raven's Tale by Kat Winters, and this is I guess like a historical fiction sort of thing in the young adult genre. And let me read the synopsis for you, because it sounds really awesome, you guys. You'll find out in a minute why I'm so excited. 17-year-old Edgar Poe is on the brink of escaping from under the thumb of his foster family, the wealthy Allens. Once he's out of oppressive Richmond and away at college, things will change. He'll be free to pursue his art and leave the horrors of his past behind. Then, on the brink of his departure, a macabre muse named Lenore appears to him, tempting him to a life of dark poetry and gruesome tales. Eddie's foster father believes muses are dangerous creatures who lead artists down a path of ruin. No respectable person would answer their call, but Lenore steps out of the shadows with one request: let them see me. Will Eddie find the courage to answer her? I am a huge Edgar Allan Poe fan, you guys, and yeah, I was like, yes, I must have this. Sounds awesome. We'll get like an explanation behind Lenore, since she's like his muse in this. So yeah, I can't wait, you guys. I'm beyond excited. Next up, The Turn of the Key by Ruth Ware, and back in January when I did my 5 most anticipated novels of the year, I do believe this was on my list. Was this my #1 book? I can't remember if this was my #1 book that I was most excited for. Yeah, I am a huge fan of Ruth Ware. I've read just about all of her books so far. Each one I've really enjoyed. So yeah, I was thrilled to see that she has another book out. So yeah, what is The Turn of the Key about? Let me read it. When Rowan Kane stumbles across the ad, she's looking for something else completely, but it seems like too good an opportunity to miss. A live-in nanny post with a staggeringly generous salary. And when she arrives at Heather Bray House, she is smitten by the luxurious smart home, fitted out with all modern conveniences, by the beautiful Scottish Highlands, and by this picture-perfect family. What she doesn't know is that she's stepping into a nightmare, one that will end with a child dead and herself in prison awaiting trial for murder. So yeah, there's a lot more to it there, but yeah, that's the basic premise. This sounds so thrilling. And yeah, it's supposed to be a loose kind of spin on The Turn of the Key by, is it James Joyce? Is it James Joyce, you guys? I can't ever remember who wrote The Turn of the Key. But yeah, this is supposed to be a loose spin, a loose retelling of that. And I've never read The Turn of the Key. I'm not quite sure entirely what it's about, so I guess I'll find out. I have a feeling this is going to make me interested to read The Turn of the Key, or The Turn of the Screw. I'm sorry, The Turn of the Screw. I think it'll make me interested to read The Turn of the Screw later on. So yeah, has anyone else read this? I know this came out like a couple months ago. I can't wait to get to this. Next up, I thought this was really cool, and I didn't even expect this at all. I think I kind of walked into my local Barnes & Noble and I was like, what's this? This is Pan's Labyrinth, The Labyrinth of the Faun by Guillermo del Toro and Cornelia Funk. And this is essentially just a written format of Guillermo del Toro's Pan's Labyrinth movie. If you don't know what the movie is about, the movie, let me try to, God, it's been a long time since I've watched that movie. It took place in like war-torn Italy, correct? During World War II, and it followed a little girl and her mother kind of escaping out into the countryside to get as far away from the war as they can. Am I remembering that correctly? And yeah, in the meantime, the little girl, she kind of gets into this fantasy world that she's created. The fantasy world is kind of this symbol and metaphor for the war going on around her. And yeah, she meets all sorts of weird, crazy creatures kind of within this fantasy world. Yeah, let me just kind of read the synopsis really quickly in case I'm not making no sense. This haunting tale takes readers to a darkly magical and war-torn world filled with richly drawn characters, including trickster fauns, murderous men, child-eating monsters, courageous rebels, and a long-lost princess hoping to be reunited with her family. And yeah, that's kind of all it says. It doesn't really give much more of a synopsis other than that. But yeah, this is such a gorgeous book, you guys. Let me show you guys. It has a beautiful cover, really shiny. And then even under the flap, you have this under the back up page. You have this under the flap with the fawn. And then on the back of the book, under the flap as well, you have this image. If I can ever get to it, you have this image of the character Ophelia. And yeah, seriously, just such a gorgeous book. And then even the inside is very gorgeous as well. You know, look at all this kind of design. It's like every page, there is design on every page. It is a gorgeously laid out book. And yeah, since I am a fan of the movie Pan's Labyrinth, I was like, this is a must, you know? This is a must for any fan of the movie. And next up, I have The Dark Descent of Elizabeth Frankenstein. This book came out last year, and this is essentially a young adult retelling of Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, her classic horror book. And yeah, this is by Kirsten White, and as you can tell from the title, it's focused on Elizabeth Frankenstein. So yeah, just kind of reading some of the synopsis here. Before she's Elizabeth Frankenstein, she's Elizabeth Lavenza. Elizabeth Lavenza hasn't had a proper meal in weeks. Her thin arms are covered with bruises from her caregiver, and she is on the verge of being thrown into the streets, until she is brought to the home of Victor Frankenstein, an unsmiling, solitary boy who has everything except a friend. Victor is her escape from misery. Elizabeth does everything she can to make herself indispensable, and it works. She is taken in by the Frankenstein family and rewarded with a warm bed, delicious food, and dresses of the finest silk. Soon she and Victor are inseparable, but her new life comes at a price. As the years pass, Elizabeth's survival depends on managing Victor's dangerous temper and indulging his every whim, no matter how depraved. Behind her blue eyes and sweet smile lies the calculating heart of a girl determined to stay alive whatever the cost, as the world she knows is consumed by darkness. Okay, I have some questions about this, because isn't Elizabeth, am I mistaken, isn't Elizabeth Victor Frankenstein's cousin in the original novel, right? She's his cousin. I don't know if Kirsten White kind of wanted to change that up because it would seem maybe rather incestuous. I don't know. Maybe that's what, because it seems like that's a vastly different change, because it seems like she has no relation to Victor at all. But either way, I do love Mary Shelley's Frankenstein, so I'm excited to get to this, and yeah, hopefully it's good. And I got some more Edgar Allan Poe. Yeah, guys, like I said, October, November, it's the fall season, October is the month of horror, so yeah, I was like, I need to consume as much Edgar Allan Poe as possible. So yeah, I have His Hideous Heart, and this is a book of retellings of 13 of Poe's classic stories, and they're all done by various different authors. And yes, some of the retellings, there's, oh my god, I can't pronounce this, Metzengerstein? You know, I can't even remember what that one's about. I've read all of Poe, but there's some short stories I can't even remember what they're about. But yeah, the first one here is Metzengerstein? Seriously, what's that one about? I can't even remember. The Murders in the Rue Morgue, The Oval Portrait, Annabel Lee, The Telltale Heart, The Cask of Amontillado, The Purloined Letter, The Mask of the Red Death, Hop Frog, The Pit and the Pendulum, The Fall of the House of Usher, The Raven, and Ligeia. So yeah, a good majority of these are stories that I definitely have a clear recollection of, and then there's a couple that's like, what story is that? I can't remember, I'm gonna have to go look that up. But yeah, not only is there, the first half of the book is the retellings, and then the second half of the book, for the reader's convenience, which is nice, especially if a reader has never read Edgar Allan Poe, the second half of the book has the original tales by Poe. So I really like that. I seriously really love that. You can sit and read these retellings and then go read the original story and kind of compare. I'm not sure how much I'm going to love this. I am a little concerned because I do love Poe so much, and it's like the way his stories are, I want them to be that way. So I'm a little terrified and a little nervous that some of these stories are just going to butcher his original tales, you know, and they're definitely not going to compare by any means. But still, me loving all things Edgar Allan Poe, I was like, I need to give this a shot because I might be pleasantly surprised. And the very last book I have here is The Spellbook of Katrina Van Tassel, A Story of Sleepy Hollow by Alyssa Palombo. This is also a book that came out sometime last year, and I was really upset that I never got around to it. So I was like, oh, this next TBR, this is the perfect time for me to get around to this. And yeah, what do I need to say? It's a retelling of Sleepy Hollow, but told through the point of view of Katrina Van Tassel. I guess just to read the synopsis really quick, when schoolmaster Ichabod Crane arrives in the spooky village of Sleepy Hollow, Katrina Van Tassel finds herself instantly drawn to him despite her family's wishes. Brought together by their mutual love of books and music, Ichabod and Katrina embark on a secret love affair, sneaking away into the woods after dark, all while praying that they do not catch sight of Sleepy Hollow's legendary Headless Horseman. That is, until All Hallows Eve when Ichabod suddenly disappears, leaving Katrina alone and in a perilous position. Enlisting the help of her friend and rumored witch, Charlotte Jansen, Katrina seeks the truth of Ichabod Crane's disappearance, investigating the forest around Sleepy Hollow using unconventional, often darkly magical means. What they find forces Katrina to question everything she once knew and to wonder if the Headless Horseman is perhaps more than just a story after all. Ooh. I'm excited, you guys. So you guys, that's it for my upcoming TBR. In the comments below, have you guys read any of these books? Do you plan on reading any of them? Just let me know your thoughts down below. So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.